a genocide is normalized, I don't think I want to live in this world anymore.
What's happening right now in Gaza? There is a famine.
Airdropping food does only two things. First, it humiliates the Palestinians. Number two is a PR campaign. We're doing our best. Let us farm, let us fish, let us eat.
What's the first image or memory that comes to your mind about Enes?
All of us carrying the camera. We are brave enough to try. We're brave enough to believe that we can make change.
What was Gaza like before the genocide?
Can you imagine living without any resources, without any borders, without any authority over your imports, exports, production, but you're still trying? The collapsing of Gaza is the collapsing of the entire world. It's accepting the equation. You cannot do anything when someone stronger and richer than you want your land, your life, your efforts, your home. You cannot do anything. You're gonna be killed silently, and please don't move for anyone else because your turn is coming. Time is not here measured by minutes, hours, and days. It's measured by blood.
Welcome to another episode of Yalla Let's Talk. Today we have by far the most important episode we've ever done in the history of Yalla Let's Talk. Joining us is a filmmaker, a journalist, a change maker, Bisan from Gaza. Bisan, thank you so much for making the time to come on Yalla Let's Talk.
Thanks, Hani, for hosting me. Again, I'm not very familiar with the live stuff. I'm a filmmaker. I'm behind the camera. Rarely in front of the camera, actually, not that much. And the same as I'm not familiar also with the podcast stuff, but let's go. Let's have a shot. Let's try.
Let's do it. And it's an absolute honor and a pleasure for this to be your first podcast. Inshallah, this is going to be a great conversation and a most important listen that people will listen to.
Inshallah.
It's Bisan from Gaza. I'm still alive. That's the first thing that always comes in my mind whenever I see a video. And my first question to you is, what are you trying to tell the world when you're saying, or when you're starting the video with, I'm still alive?
Basically, no one and no place in Gaza is safe. Nothing is safe. No one is safe. So I'm saying, or I'm still alive, is just an update of what it is right now. Where am I right now? I'm still alive. And that actually means that no one can be away from being killed, from being murdered, and that it's only a good luck when someone is alive. Nothing can be calculated. No one can figure out is this place safe or not, in the north or in the south, in the east or in the west. Everything in the media about a safe zone, a humanitarian zone, is just nothing. After 2 years, guys talking to you from the ground, there's no safe places. I've left places for like 2 years, leaving places, and then the bombing is right after me, next to me, in the same place, but away from me. The shrapnels are around me, but not through me. So staying alive is just a coincidence, and that's why I'm saying I'm still alive, because it's just an update like anything else.
Thank you so much for sharing that. It is very powerful and unfortunate to think that it's all by luck, as much as the propaganda has tried to sway the people to think that, hey, the people are being strategically targeted. What you're saying on the ground, then no one knows.
Of course, if anyone knows how a child can be killed, how a journalist can be killed, how a nurse, a doctor, a humanitarian worker can be killed, if these are all strategic targets, then we're talking about another level of crimes, you know? Actually, it's not calculated. We are all at the risk of being killed. And maybe, of course, sometimes some goals are strategically chosen. A hospital, for example, a school, a humanitarian place, a humanitarian warehouse, maybe a kitchen, so people cannot benefit from this place. Yes, I agree. But talking about safe zones is not an accurate thing. nothing is called safe zone in Gaza. We've tried. We've been hearing people killed in Gaza, in every inch of Gaza, in the east, in the west, everywhere. Even some humanitarian international workers actually being shot, killed, being injured in their guest houses that are rented, that are approved by the Israeli army coordinations and everything. So no, not safe places.
What I appreciated with what you highlighted is the fact that there are children that are being killed. So if there are safe places and if they're not being sporadically bombed, then they would have been safe.
Mm-hmm.
You talk a lot about your life after October 7th and the genocide. Can you tell us a little bit more about what was Gaza like before the genocide?
I would say what was Gaza like before the genocide being live on camera, because the genocide is about 78 years old. It was slower, it was behind the cameras, and the world was not seeing the genocide as now, and was not aware about everything happening in Gaza and Palestine right now. But the genocide has been going. What you call the displacement of 850,000 people in 1948 in a couple of weeks. And the destruction, the burning, the totally demolishing of over 500 cities and villages, the killing of 15,000 Palestinians, the torture, the massacres, the huge massacres happened. Isn't that genocide? Then what is the genocide? But the world back then was busy somehow in the new world after the Second World War. The new world that they are trying to form. And all of these stuff, they were not aware, or maybe somehow they were aware, but not the population, not the all classes, not the people without any media or without reading more on the newspaper. And maybe the newspapers, of course, were filtered with all the news reaching you guys. Now, the social media helped you seeing the genocide, but genocide has been going for 78 years. The genocide did not start after October 7th. We can't say this, because if there is not a genocide, why we were blockaded, we were under siege for 17 years. I've survived 3 or 4 escalations. I've got displaced before, by the way, in 2014. I've lost my home before. I changed where I lived for 6 years until we were able to rebuild our home. I've seen the army for the first time at the age of 5 years old, destroying my CD Biara, my CD's farm, my CD's land. Can you imagine? All of this, we've lived all of this, and then you're saying now the genocide has started after October 7th. That's number one. Number two, how was Gaza before? I can say that Gaza was trying non-stop for 17 years to live. And those trials can be seen in the universities, the educational institutions, can be seen in the hospitals, and the operations being done in the hospitals can be seen in all of these active, well-educated youth in Gaza, in the 0% illiteracy in Gaza, in all of the videos and the programs like Hakawati, for example, which means storyteller, being made about every inch in Gaza, all the cultural and heritage places and the historical places in Gaza. You can say that these trials were all the time, of course, faced by the Israeli army stopping them and destroying them and besieging them, but we were trying. So this is me describing how was the life before this massacre started. Gaza was successfully trying and building and rebuilding after every time of destruction. As I told you, there were several destructions in 2008, 2014, 2012 between them, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2023, and go on. So that's Gaza before the genocide, before the massacre. It was
Before
trying.
the massacre.
Yeah.
And I want to thank you for clarifying because you're right. It did not start on October. This has been a massacre for over 70 years.
That's true.
And
An ethnic
what you just
cleansing for over
ethnic
78 years.
cleansing,
Yani you're talking about whole families being erased from the registry for 78 years. People displaced outside Palestine. In the diaspora, you're talking about 7 million people are not able to reach back to their country. They know that their homes still exist there, their lands still exist there. They have their certificates and etc. for their lands and their property, and they can't go back. If this is not ethnic cleansing, if this is not genocide, then what is it? So the massacre that you've been seeing closely since October 7th is still ongoing, but it did not come out of nowhere. That's something really important.
What also resonated with me, what you said, is Gaza was trying to live for 17 years. Trying to live.
Yes. Why
And
17?
how was it like
Yeah, how was
in
it
those
like?
17 years?
Why 17 years? Because the Israeli blockade was imposed over Gaza Strip, turning it into a literal open-air prison in 2007. Open-air prison means that people cannot travel whenever they want. They cannot get treatment until the Israelis approve them, give them a permission. Many people got passed because of their health issues. Some operations and a lot of medications are not allowed to Gaza because of this besieging. So people were needed to take permissions from Israelis to get their treatment. What does it mean to be in an open-air prison? A lot of stuff, a lot of alternatives that make you able to develop your economy, able to be sustainable in terms of food, in terms of other productions, are not allowed to enter Gaza. We're talking about heavy equipment or other softwares, stuff needed to make your economy sustainable and independent. So nothing was allowed to enter Gaza. All of this in all of this area. So, but in the other side, Gaza was still trying. Gaza did not stop trying. I've seen during the past like 4 years, like 2020 until 2025, until now, 5 years, I've seen people creating things from nothing. I've seen fishermen, for example. I feel that I'm closer to the fishermen more than others because I've worked closely with them in different things. And I've seen them melting the plastic of the plastic water tanks and forming them into what we call hasaka. Hasaka is a small boat without edges. It's only to carry like a couple of tons, 2 people, and the net, the big net. I've been seeing them forming it out of plastic. I've been seeing the people recycling the rubble of their homes to rebuild it again because the Israeli army, the Israelis, do not allow any construction materials to enter after every escalation, after every aggression. And it's known. That's why, by the way, you see that after every aggression or escalation, the Gazans remove the rubble very fast because they need to recycle this rubble and to reuse it in other buildings because we don't have resources. Can you imagine living without any resources, without any borders, without any authority over your imports, exports, production, but you're still trying? This is the 2.4 million people in Gaza trying.
And I think this is a testament to how strong and powerful and resilient the population of Gaza is, of the Palestinians. Bisan, I wanted to ask you more about what's happening right now in Gaza. There is a famine. The UN reports 1 million people in Gaza already have hunger, catastrophic hunger, and hundreds of children have died from starvation.
Okay, so we need at the beginning to define starvation or forced starvation. It's not a starvation because of any natural thing or because we are people that cannot afford their food. We're people that used to plant all of our food and to be self-sufficient. So it's not a starvation, it's a forced starvation. And it is a well-engineered, well-structured starvation that allows the Palestinians only to die and the oppressor only to benefit from it. How? By putting more pressure on Palestinians, pushing them to the line. And by the line, I mean leaving the land, leaving Gaza whenever they can. There's no food, there's no ability to survive. And to benefit from the limited number of food being allowed to enter Gaza because it's entering via their channels, their factories, their institutions, and their everything. So both sides are winning for the oppressors. And here I mean the Israelis, and of course, the godfather for this genocide, the U.S. How is it now? Unfortunately, the media manipulates us. The media tells us what to believe and what to not believe. When to witness that something is beginning and when to witness that, no need for my effort anymore because the genocide has ended, the starvation has ended. No. The forced starvation is forced starvation until the Palestinians are able to be independently able to afford their food, until the food is sustainable, until the food is reaching safely to the warehouses and to the stores of the international organizations who would be able to send messages to the people to come and take their food until the genocide is over and people can get back to their work and get back to their farms. So we are not even dependent on the food that is coming by AIDS. These are the steps we need to take until the genocide, until the starvation is over. We need to make sure that food is enough. I'm talking here about 600 to 700 trucks a day by land. What is entering right now is less than 10% of the need. That's number one. Then sustainable. It needs to continue entering to Gaza and to Gazan people through all the channels of the international organizations until the end of this. Even after it, even after the ceasefire, what are we talking about? People are now totally dependent on the AIDS. We're talking about 1 million children, population without any source of income, without any source of food, without being able to produce any food. 97% of the agricultural areas are under the Israeli control right now, or destroyed and under the Israeli control right now, or in the Israeli areas that we cannot reach. If anyone reached there, that means not only he cannot or they cannot plant, they cannot reach. So until all of this is done, until there is a withdrawal, until we can afford planting our food and importing our food because we could before, so we can, we need a sustainable 600 to 700 trucks a day. We need no shows, no PR shows like the airdrops, because it does only two things. Airdropping food does only two things. First, it humiliates the Palestinians, showing them as gangs and hungry people running after 8 or 7 boxes of food that only is enough for like 7 or 8 families for a week, for example. That's number one, humiliating. Number two is a PR campaign. We're doing our best. Canada airdropped, the US, some other Arabic countries, some Western countries. Then after that, what will happen? There's no sustainability. The world has been talking about sustainability and humanitarian work and emergency work and putting all of these resources to make researches about how to build an emergency response systems. And then when it comes to Gaza, they cannot feed 2 million people. They cannot force Israel to open the borders and to let the food enter. So it's not a starvation, it's a forced starvation. How it ends? By sustainable enough food, end the genocide, reach a ceasefire, Let people get back again to their farms. Let us farm, let us fish, let us eat from our food. This is,
Let us eat
yeah.
from our food. That's very powerful. And I wanted to highlight exactly what you just ended with. It's forced starvation. When we're talking about famine, it seems like it was like a natural disaster. However, in this case, this is a tactful war tactic to starve millions of people. Now, my next question is, this is now happening. Bombs are being dropped. How does survival look like in Gaza? And I do apologize if this question has no answer, but I do think this is something a lot of people are thinking about who are not there on the ground.
First of all, the survival of a real forced starvation, a real genocide, a will to annihilate a people's existence, has nothing to do with any of the films produced about the apocalypse describing how people can survive. Okay? Because anything being broadcasted around this idiom, surviving or survival, is not what it really happens on the ground. First, your problems, your issues, your struggles are complex. It's not one issue. It's never the problem of displacement only, never the problem of the lack of water only. It's the problem of being displaced for the 20th time in a row, losing one or more of your family members. Maybe some of them are the breadwinners, having an injury with you. Maybe a child is injured, carrying them as well. Going to a place, there's no infrastructure, there's no water, only puddles of sewage. There's no food because there's nothing entering Gaza since the 2nd of March until last couple of weeks. Then what is entering is being consumed, so nothing is stored. We're at the peak of another wave of the starvation, while we are still in this wave, by the way. Not everyone is eating, and we're talking about 4 to 10 people dying every day because of starvation in the hospitals. Not only this, the bombing is behind you and in front of you. And it's a big lie of going to a safe area or a safe zone. Nothing is called a safe zone in Gaza. The tents are being bombed. The schools are being bombed, while the schools are the only places to go when someone is displaced, by the way. It's either a tent or a school. We don't have bunkers. We don't have safe paths to whatever, another place. So it's a closed area. You're suffering of all of these, of course, with being tired, with being helpless, with being hopeless, with thinking about everything you lost, like your home, your friends, maybe half your neighborhood, and without knowing anything about future, about their plans, because apparently they're just escalating their barbarism and putting more horrific scenarios and pushing us to all of them. So this is what survival means. Of course, along with finding a right place to sit, maybe a place aslan to settle in, putting your tents, reaching a bathroom, reaching water, reaching food, medicines. If you have your parents maybe with chronic disease and you're searching about blood pressure medicine, you will spend months and maybe you will not be able to find. We're talking about tens of thousands of people we lost because of the lack of medications. So all of this is the survival thing. And by the way, by time, nothing is decreasing. The problems and the struggles are just increasing and making the small bowl just getting greater and greater until it's a huge stone over your back, and you're walking with it to the nowhere with 5 or 6 children and regretting your life. And waking up every day with a single hope that anything will happen, and nothing happens for 670 days. This is what survival means. So survival is not only a backpack with a lid, some food and clean water, and then moving from a place to a place. That's only happening in movies. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that, Bisan. And I know was tough to even articulate that and relive what you're reliving every single day. And honestly, I have no words. It is unfortunate how the world has let a whole population, human beings, the Palestinians, the people in Gaza, and I think the only question I can ask after this is, you said things are keep getting worse. People might not see it as much on social media, and in our previous call you mentioned that it has been normalized. Genocide has been normalized.
Not normalized, but people got comfortable
People got comfortable.
and lost hope of doing something. By the way, it's not normalized. Of course, if a genocide is normalized, I don't think I want to live in this world anymore. I don't think that I care about if it's normalized or not anymore. So believing that it's normalized means for me that this is not a world to live in, not only for me, for any other human on this planet. So, but people got comfortable to the reality of a genocide and got comfortable to the reality that it has been going for 2 years now in front of my eyes. The Palestinians are saying finally the truth is reaching us, and it's been going for 78 years. And we cannot do anything. So people got comfortable to the reality that they're not making this huge change. Actually, the change is difficult and it's a long-term thing. It's not happening in 2 years. Not in a day and a night. It's not happening in 2 years. But it's happening.
The change is happening.
Yeah, it's happening. Of course it's happening. People are people are you reached out to me to ask me about a genocide because you believe that this must be or must reach to other people. Just imagine how much time will it take to reach out to you or to other media creators or householders, people, activists outside, um, what is the word? Is it approach them to do something? Move them to go to the streets and to seek change. It took us like 78 years of Nakba, ongoing Nakba, and 2 years of an open massacre without a ceiling. The killing is open, the starvation is open, everything is open. But at the end, it reached out. It reached you. Somebody started moving, and then the whole street, and then the whole country, and then a lot of people are moving. Some of them had never, had never to deal with the Holocaust before the latest massacre, let me call it, and some of them were even choosing not to know anything about Palestine or about Israel or about anyone before this latest massacre, before this genocide. So now they care about knowing more and to act in the right side of history. And this is actually, it's happening. It's happening. It's bloody. It's happening in a bloody way, in a very slow, painful way, but it's happening. Yeah, and this
It
is
is
the only
happening.
thing we can tell to ourselves to make ourselves patient.
And I can definitely appreciate that. And as our friend Lunar has even mentioned in a song, it's "Wake Up," and people are waking up. So I definitely echo those sentiments. Is there a message or something you'd want to tell people that are now comfortable with what's happening?
That's a little bit tough, but simple at the same time. Tough to gather all the information and everything I need to tell, and simple because it's simple. What we need to do is simple. It has been a full 2 years of trying all the ways of activism, protests, media, films, fundraisers, etc., etc. So it's known, but maybe we can put more pressure. I think people need to continue working because when look, time is not here measured by minutes, hours, and days. It's measured by blood. It's measured by colleagues we lose, by children killed without any sin, by families separated, by lands going, by blood. So whenever anyone is just sick, tired, feel a little bit helpless and that this is not making a real change, just remember that in one day, over 30 children, or about 30 children, are killed in one day. So the day you didn't act to stop the genocide you witnessed the killing of 30 children. In 2 years, we've been seeing a lot of people trying to help. But me from here, because I am aware of the people trying to reach out, to contact, unfortunately, I'm seeing people like not that active as before. So what needs to be done is that you need to make more pressure and to know that the colonization is nothing but a project, and it needs to be profitable to go on. When it stops to be profitable, khalas, it stops. Even the allies, they drop them down because it's not profitable anymore. We need to believe more in our movements, in boycotting, and even the legal movements by, for example, the countries who, the 153 countries that signed the Genocide Convention in 1948, or over the past 70 to 80 years. All of these countries are supposed to, legally, I'm saying now, it's illegal to be silent, to not cut the diplomatic and economic and other political ties. The legal thing to do, due to this convention that the US is signing on before, by the way, is to take this criminal regime, genocidal state, to the court. And people need to know their rights. People need to know their rights. Peoples in these countries have the right to require it, to ask their government to obey for this convention that they signed. These are our rights, and this is our world. It's not the world of the 1.5% criminals around us. Okay.
So for everyone listening,
of
keep
course,
boycotting,
yes,
keep protesting, and keep putting pressure on your government.
It's not, yeah, and something else. The genocide is complex. Okay, it's not a singular thing. It's complex. It's a package of the worst things ever on this world. So we need to act in a collective way, as peoples, organizations, schools, academic institutions, economic institutions, and not by one tool, by several tools. No one says it's not changing, but to change faster, you need to push more. To change slower, you need to do or to act as you are doing now, but this will guarantee time and ability for the genocidal state to annihilate the Palestinian existence. It already started in the West Bank as well. So it's not only about Gaza, it's not only about what the past 2 years, it's not only about anything of these. It's your matter and our matter. And something else, you need to know, or if this is also the conclusion, I want to mention something. Maybe you've heard about Gaza in the past 2 years. But Gaza is 6,000 years old. Gaza witnessed the building of your world. And maybe we can say easily that it also contributed this building. Palestine, in general, has more cities like Jericho, like Jerusalem, like Bisan, the city I'm named after, like Akka, Nablus, and other cities. Of course, you don't hear about them because they're 6,000, 7,000 years old. Of course, you don't hear about them. You only hear that we are either a victim being killed every day, and to be killed is a normal thing because we are collateral damage at the end. We're just sacrifices, to a greater cause, which is, in our case, not even our cause. It's the oppressor's cause. or hear that we're just another poor people that cannot do anything and relies only on humanitarian aid or the world to feed and to do and to so on. The collapsing of such a city like Gaza City, I'm now talking about, um, which is 6,000 years old, being slaughtered in front of the media for 2 years, doesn't only mean the collapse of Gaza. I've said it a year ago when I was filming Hakawati series in a camp with displaced people in front of a fire. The collapsing of Gaza is the collapsing of the entire world. It's accepting the equation. You cannot do anything when someone stronger and richer than you want your land, your life, your effort, your home. You cannot do anything. You're gonna be killed silently, and please don't move for anyone else because your turn is coming. You better hide. This is the lesson. This is like the equation. This is the letter. It's just like this. So the collapsing of Gaza is collapsing of all of our morals and humanity. خلاص, the collapsing of all of our systems and the things that we've been protecting for and building for thousands of years. The civilization. Gaza is connected to all of these. I'm not exaggerating. I don't need to exaggerate. But Gaza, yeah, Gaza is linked to all of these.
And what I appreciate with what you said is if this could happen to Gaza, it could happen to you. It could happen to every single person in the world. It means that the world has failed us, the systems have failed us. And the other thing you mentioned, and I think this is so powerful for people to remember, that time is not measured by days, it's measured by blood. And I think this is extremely important for people to understand because, like you said, every day there are children that are being slaughtered. In Anas al-Sharif's will, he wrote, I urge you to not let chains silence you, nor borders restrain you. Be bridges towards the liberation of the land and its people until the sun of dignity and freedom rises over our stolen homeland. When you hear these words, what's the first image or memory that comes to your mind about Anas?
Anas and more than 250 other journalists were killed during this genocide in front of the people, in front of the world. Can you imagine? The most honorable job with a huge responsibility, and it's even multiplied 100,000 times in the case of Gaza because it's a genocide, are being silenced in front of the world. You just see people going live, see their faces, their features, see their smiles with their families in a very short glimpses of beautiful moments. And then suddenly you stop seeing them talking to camera, laughing, trying. Again, Gaza has been trying, oh my God. It's always about the trial and who is brave enough to try. That's what I want to say about Anas and the other colleagues, about all of us carrying the camera. We are brave enough to try. We're brave enough to believe that we can make change. And we're brave enough to hold this responsibility over our shoulders, the tired, the starved, the scared shoulders. That's what I want to say about Anas and other colleagues. And actually, a very important thing that I want to say is also counting people as numbers. You know, every single one, not only the journalists, is a whole life, a whole people attached to them, loving them, cannot imagine their lives without them. And can you imagine that this is for the people who are not working to reach out our truth, to reach out everything that is happening, to expose the oppressors, the colonizers. These are the people who are the householders, people in their homes with their families. Can you imagine how it's even devastating, more devastating, to take away the voice of a whole people? A whole people. Look, this is a crime that has been well structured and well planned to. The Israeli army is now waving shamelessly, and no one is stopping them. No one is doing enough so far, by the way, is waving by occupying Gaza City, the remains of Gaza City, and controlling it, displacing 1 million people to 30% only of Gaza strip lands, or even less, 28% of Gazan lands, requires huge crimes, huge massacres, and tens of thousands of people to be slaughtered in order to this to happen. And who is the first one? The first people to expose this? The speakers, the truth carriers, the journalists. And that's why in a single strike, 6 were killed. In another strike, and I'm not just saying, God forbids, inshallah nothing happens. But it happened before. They were not the first people, and Gaza was not the first city. Rafah was flattened before. Beit Hanun, Jabalia, Beit Lahia, Shuja'iyya, and Tufah neighborhoods in the east of Gaza City were flattened. Rafah was flattened, and even the Israeli army was telling the world it's going to be a matter of a limited military operation in some parts of the city. There's no single thing standing in the city right now after a year and 2 months of these claims by the Israelis. So every place the Israelis enter is flattened, and people are massacred. And how to cover up, or at least to minimize the amount of anger and the amount of truth reaching to the people, to make them move or do anything, by silencing the truth. And this is
By
what is
silencing
happening.
the truth.
It's a well-structured thing. Nothing is random.
Nothing is random, and I'm happy you mentioned that, because I saw the stats. There is more deaths in the media and journalists than in World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and the former Yugoslavia. And this isn't a comparison of one of those wars. This is all of
All
it
of them
put
combined.
together. All of this combined. What message do you think Israel is sending the world by targeting these journalists?
We're back to the equation I told you about before. It's creating a reality where no one could speak. If anyone speaks, they're they're just giving up their lives. They're giving up their career. They're giving up their homes, maybe their reputation, maybe their families. So this is the thing, and it's not connected only to Israel, by the way. It's connected to all the colonial forces supporting Israel and just being silenced, just trying to ignore what Israel is doing right now, supported by supporting it, by weaponizing it, whatever. So this is the message. It's the same equation I've told you about before. Anyone could speak, it's going to be targeted. So don't speak.
And exactly that is when they targeting these journalists, people will be more afraid. But do you think in general this has worked in their favor?
I'm not reviewing all the timeline. I'm not in the after
Okay.
this to judge over it. I'm in the
Okay.
the event, in the place, and living it.
And
So
you're
I
living
don't
it.
think I can. I don't think I can judge. But anything could happen. At the end, good people win only in the happy ending films, because Israel has been committing these massacres, this genocide for 78 years. Why
For
not
78
being
years.
400 years? This all depends on the people moving to stop Israel. It's not even. It's not only depending on Palestinians. Now it's a global issue. It's a global
It is
issue.
a global issue.
Yeah, it's a global colonization. It's not only the colonization of Gaza, of Palestine.
Mm-hmm. And when we're saying free Palestine, it's a liberation for all.
Yeah.
It has become a movement that stands for so many different things.
Mhm.
Now, I want to talk to you about the evacuation. So, as we've heard, Israel now wants to take control of Gaza City and forcing residents to leave by October 7th.
Mhm.
What is the reaction of the Palestinians on the ground?
Terrified, terrified, tired, exhausted, helpless, hopeless, being silenced, feeling the loneliness more than any creature on this planet over history, not even now. This is what we feel now. This is how the Gazans are feeling now. Because, again, in the first evacuation orders, between the 7th of October to 13th, for example, something like that, 13th of October 2023, other alternatives were put in front of the people. You know, people were gathering like a family. We go to Nusayrat, we go to Zawaida, we go to Del Balah. Let's go to Rafah. Let's try Khan Yunis. Now, literally, nothing of these places still exist on reality, except some areas of western Dar el Balah only. There's no east in Gaza now, and west is measured by Salah ad-Din Road, which give you 50-50. So 50 is already gone. Okay, then you go to Rafah. It's all taken by the Israeli army. There's no Rafah. You go to Khan Yunis. You have a very narrow strip of Al Mawasi area. It's a part of Al Mawasi, not all of Al Mawasi area, which was already 14 square kilometers before this deduction of it. Then you go to the west of Dar el Balah. So between 23 to 28% of the land that was available before for the people to evacuate to. So when I say people are terrified, I'm saying people are terrified because there is no place to go to. And we've been saying this since the resuming of the genocide, since the 18th of March. And it's been going and even becoming worse day after day, and there is no real movement to stop Israel. People of Gaza do what they want, what they say now. Do you want to know what they say now? They say
What
وين
did they
نروح.
say?
وين نروح in Arabic means where to go. This is what every single mouth is saying right now.
Where do we go? Wow. And the truth is, there is nowhere to go. If you can deliver a message to any president, prime minister, politician right now, what would you want to say?
You either be standing on the right side of history, or to be just a coward, complicit, genocidal face, saved by people's through time, your name and your face over the genocidal list somewhere in the history. So history remembers. You need right now, you're too late by the way, but you need right now to stand on the right side of history. And I'm not saying by speeches and other PR campaigns. I'm talking about real change that you and your people know exactly what is it. We've been talking about it through the episode, so you know exactly what to do. Now, if not doing it doesn't mean that you don't know it. You already know it. So not doing it
Everyone
means
knows
that
what
you're
to do.
complicit, nothing more, nothing less.
And I liked how you mentioned you need to be on the right side of history. It's not complicated. It's not something that's more nuanced than what it is. You need to be on the right side of history and end what's happening. Now, for anyone listening from Canada to Japan, what can they do today to help?
Boycott. It's easy, boycott. Everything has an alternative in the world except dignity, morals, and freedom. And you are free countries, as you're telling. So you must be free to reject a genocide and to stand in front of it. That's number one. Number two, you are signing. So it's either you're a legal state or illegal state. By getting back to all the conventions, the agreements in the international law, and all of these agreements that you designed and that are approving that now Israel is a criminal state committing a genocide. So you need to do something from a legal perspective and a humanity perspective. And if you're signing on something and then you do not obey to it, like for example the Genocide Convention or the international law or other agreements, then you're just a country that is dependent and cannot be free in its decisions, and that is so weak to defend itself at people or other people who, again, this government or this country signed to protect or to take action to prevent a genocide. So, yeah, this is what I want to say.
Well, thank you for saying that. And I just want to reiterate how much I am in awe, and I think everyone, the whole entire world is, and how much we admire everything you're doing and what you stand for. And just as we're wrapping up this podcast episode, I want to leave the floor to you for one last message you want to share to the world.
Of course, it's whatever from the river to the sea. Palestine must be free. So we all are free. Second thing, it's our world, guys. It's not them. Yani, it's our world. We control it. We're living in it. They're not living in the same world. They're building their own world over our bones, over our lives, over our rights. It's our world, and we do have the power to take our lives and bonds and rights back. And we need to do this before it's too late. It's already late, but it's not too late yet. So
It's
this
not
is my
too
message.
late yet.
Free Palestine forever.
Free Palestine forever. Thank you so
Shukran.
much, Bisan, for making the time, for coming on Yalla Let's Talk. And for anyone listening, please, please do not get comfortable with what's happening. As Bisan has said, keep boycotting, keep protesting, put pressure on the government. This is all our fight now. And thank you. And
Shukran. Thanks for hosting me. Yalla, see ya.
thank you so much, Bisan.
Salam.
Take care.